We can tell you that Mayor Adams launched a controversial plan to remove people with severe mental health challenges from streets and subways.
The mayor says it's a moral issue and he has to act to address what he calls a crisis. Adams wants to provide care for the untreated mentally ill.
But those people will not have a choice. Under the plan, they will be taken to the hospital involuntarily.
CBS 2's political reporter Marcia Kramer is here now to tell us about this decision.
Well, Dana and Dick, it was bold, it was controversial, but whether you agree with Mayor Adams or not, his decision to force people with mental issues to get treatment is a decision that comes from the heart. He said his concern began when he went to see homeless encampments erected in the city.
Seeing human waste, stale food, dirty clothing, people who are dealing with mental health crises, and then we have the audacity to say that they should live that way? I'm just not going to do that.
Mayor Adams is facing an issue whose solution has eluded mayors for decades, announced a controversial plan to involuntarily bring people with severe mental illness into hospitals for treatment, taking them off the streets and subways. He said it was both for their safety and the safety of the public.
We're going to be more responsive, we're going to be clear, we're going to be compassionate, but we're not punting this issue. We're going to face this issue head on.
The mayor issued a directive to first responders and outreach workers, telling them they had the legal authority under state mental health law to bring people to hospitals who are a danger to themselves or can't meet their own basic needs.
Are you hearing this in New York? The mayor, Eric Adams, is talking about grabbing people off the street who are deemed to be mentally ill based on a criteria that someone's going to develop and put them into facilities and keep them until they're treated. I'm kind of speechless because I thought people had rights regardless if you're poor or rich. You got rights. And so if the people who are homeless currently are choosing to be homeless or have a certain type of lifestyle, then what's with this whole we gonna sweep the streets of the mentally ill? Because who can say who's mentally ill?
The mayor said he would find a way to provide psychiatric beds for anyone who needs them. Governor Hochul gave the city funds for 50 beds. I asked the mayor where the additional beds would come from.
We're going to be meeting with our private hospitals.
The next part of what Eric Adams is talking about is using private facilities as well. Now, you know full well, if he begins using private facilities, they're going to have things that they're going to want. A guarantee. Because, they're going to have to hire extra staff. They're also going to get paid. I mean, this could turn into a money thing more than it could be a thing to fix mental health. That's just my opinion.
He said his concern began when he went to see homeless encampments erected in the city.
Seeing human waste, stale food, dirty clothing, people who are dealing with mental health crises, and then we have the audacity to say that they should live that way? I'm just not going to do that.
Mayor Adams is facing an issue whose solution has eluded mayors for decades, announced a controversial plan to involuntarily bring people with severe mental illness into hospitals for treatment, taking them off the streets and subways. He said it was both for their safety and the safety of the public.
We're going to be more responsive, we're going to be clear, we're going to be compassionate, but we're not punting this issue. We're going to face this issue head on.
I mean, damn. I mean, to me, the people who are in New York, they not just mentally ill. To suggest that everyone that's on the street in New York City is mentally ill is nuts, because that's not what it is. A lot of people on the streets in New York City and all throughout this country are on the street because the economics of this country because of capitalism. Capitalism have failed people, which have made people starve and stressed to the point to where they have broken hearts on the inside. You can't say that the people are mentally ill, but what you can say is that there's not enough opportunity in the country for the poor of all groups. And so so now instead of dealing with the issue of poverty, you're trying to say that the people who are impoverished, who are down and out, there's something wrong with them, they're mentally ill. No, they can't afford to live in New York. And so the idea to clean the streets of the people, so other people who can afford to live in New York could walk around, their lives are untouched, but the other people will be snatched off the street by people they don't know. And then their bodies, they will no longer have control of, because the state of, or the city of New York, are you hearing this?
Chief counsel to the mayor said state law already gives Adams the right to issue the directive.
Certain conditions have to be met, and that's been laid out in New York State Office of Mental Health guidance.
The New York Civil Liberties Union accuses the mayor of playing fast and loose with the legal rights of New York.
I mean, it seems like that's kind of what is going on anyway. They gonna get the people off the street through intervention, through some type of mental illness campaign. But at the same time, you have to understand that a lot of folks, again, they're not mentally ill, they're just struggling. So what's going to happen is they're just going to disband, and that's what it seems like it is. It's more about getting the poor people off the street out of plain sight than it is really dealing with the issue of its poverty, its economics. You know, it has to do with wealth. You know, the people in our country aren't healthy because of the wealth gap between the poor and the rich. There is no middle class. The middle class, that's gone. All you see now are very wealthy, rich people and very poor people. But the rich people want to have their playground, and the playgrounds are always the urban centers of downtown. Those are the secondary suburbs. Downtowns in most urban centers now are like suburbs. You can't just go in there and enjoy it like you used to be able to. Not if you're poor. Now, if you have some wealth, you go on downtown and have a good time, like New York. You understand? So that's what my opinion of what I'm seeing is taking place. It is my opinion that it's just a way to remove poor people from plain sight.